everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jamie. I'm so glad that you found us. So today is April, I don't know, something, 11th. It's a little, oh, that's crazy to me. I was thinking it was like the 6th or something. No, today is April 11th, and April is Light It Up Blue for Autism Awareness Month. And yeah, I have an amazing boy. Can't really call him little anymore. He's almost as tall as I am, but an amazing son who has autism, and I just thought I'd share with you a little bit about him and about his story of coming into our family. So his little birth story, because it's an exciting ride, let me tell you. And yeah, we'd color a picture while we do it. I'm gonna work in Hannah Carlson, Summer Night. I haven't even picked a picture yet, but we're gonna color a picture while we do it. And as Carson says, Mommy color pictures. Yes, Mommy's gonna color a picture. Don't know what we're gonna color, but we're gonna color. Ooh, maybe we'll just color this bug here. So Carson, or Curly, as you may know him as, is 10. He'll be 11 this year. And he is our biological son. He is our only biological child, but he is amazing. And let me tell you how he came to be in our family while I pick some colors here. My husband and I were living in Oregon, and just outside of Portland, and we'd been married for 3 years. I was 25, and I was just finishing up my master's degree at Portland State. A master's in teaching music. I know, yeah, I don't teach music, but I stay home with my kiddos. But I was finishing up my master's. My husband was starting his rotations for his doctorate in pharmacy when we found out that we were expecting Carson to come into our lives. So I was pregnant with him. This was not our first pregnancy. We'd had a couple of pregnancy losses. That is a story for another time. So I wanted to make sure I got into a doctor pretty quick and was taking the right medications and taking care of myself and him. But the pregnancy went very smoothly overall. He didn't have any problems. Everything was really good. I was really nervous about it, but at 20 weeks we found out he was a boy, and everything was good, and I was excited, and I graduated with my master's degree, and yeah, I felt like life was gonna be good, and it has been. It's been a good ride. So I was 6 weeks away from my due date when I woke up in the middle of the night with horrible back pain. I thought I was a goner. It was awful. And I tried to just like kind of suck it up and get over it, and I was like, oh, but it wasn't getting any better. And I was like, I need some help. So I wake my husband up, Blake, and I'm like, honey, you have to sit up. Like, I turned on all the lights in the house. He has been known to talk to me in his sleep, have a full-blown conversation, but I needed him to be awake. And so I turned on all the lights and was like having him sit up, and I was like, I don't feel good. My back is killing me. And I know that he has an internship the next morning, and so I don't want to disrupt that. Like, he is working really hard to get through this doctorate, to provide for me and our kids, and I'm trying to be really supportive, and I don't want to mess up his day, I guess. So I think I'm gonna be fine. I just need to get some sleep, even though I am in excruciating amount of pain. My back hurt so bad. But I was gonna suck it up. You know, I was gonna be fine. I'm someone who doesn't like to go to the doctor. I have to be on my deathbed. So I'm like, I'm fine, but I'm having some pain. I can't sleep because it hurts so bad. Can you give me a blessing? So we are active, practicing, whatever you want to call it, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And my husband has the priesthood from our church, and I just wanted him to give me a blessing, to say a prayer with me, to help me sleep, to help me get better. So I just, you know, some comfort in that. And yeah, so I was like, can you do this for me? And so he can, I'll do that for you. So we get up and he says this prayer for me, and as soon as he's done, I like run to the bathroom, because with all of this back pain I'd been having, I'm pregnant, the baby's sitting, you know, on my bladder, so I think that I am just urinating a little bit. And so I like run to the bathroom, and my husband is like, this is when he wakes up, because he says that when I ran to the bathroom, like all of the blood had drained from my face, like it was just gone. Like he could tell how much pain I was actually in. And so as I run to the bathroom, he grabs the phone and calls the on-call nurse with our doctor's office. And I come out of the bathroom, I'm laying on the floor, he's talking to the nurse, and she's like, well, where is she? And he's like, well, she's laying on the floor. I was on my knees with my head on the floor and like my butt in the air, kind of like a child's pose or whatever if you do yoga, and just trying to get some relief because my back hurt so bad. And so he hands me the phone, and she's like, well, like, what does it feel like? I'm like, this pain, it's so bad, it's in my back, I can't sleep. She's like, well, how much pain? Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how much pain? How do you describe how much pain? I don't know. I'm like, well, I'm going to tear my hair out. Is my answer to her. I'm going to rip my hair out. It hurts a lot. And she's like, well, I don't think you're in labor or anything, but I need you to come in and get checked. And I'm like, I don't want to, because it's now like 3 o'clock in the morning, and my husband has an internship in the morning. Like, I don't want to go in, but I'm like, okay, well, if we go now, we can be home in time for him to go to his internship. I'm like, these are the thoughts that are going through my head. Looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, how stupid were you? Like, I think I was just in complete denial because it's 6 weeks early. He shouldn't, you know, and then with some of the pregnancy losses I'd had before, I think I was just like in shock and in complete denial. So we go to the hospital. So we go and we take nothing. Like, I had grabbed my purse, so I had my ID, but that was it. I didn't take anything with me. I didn't have a bag packed. I didn't have a diaper bag. I didn't have anything for this baby. Like, we're college students. He's 6 weeks early. I don't have anything. I'm in denial that I'm having a baby. So it's about a 20-minute ride to the hospital. And this is the first time in the evening that I have a clock in front of me. And I'm realizing that this pain in my back is coming every 4 minutes on the dot. And I'm like, shit. But I'm still in denial. Like, I'm like, no, it's too early. I can't be having a baby yet. They'll give me something. It will be fine. It will be home. He can go on his rotation. It will be good. I'll be fine. This is not happening. Of course, I get there. I'm so early that they have to have a doctor check me. The nurse can't check me. So, because I'm 6 weeks early. So the doctor comes in to check me and she just starts laughing. She's like, you are dilated to a 4. Your water has broke. You are having a baby. And I was just like, no, no. So our closest family was in Utah. So that's 1,000 miles away. So we are on our own. So they get me checked in, and I was in so much pain, and I'm like, if this is just gonna get worse, forget it. Give me an epidural. So I cannot do this. I'm so tired already. I'm in a panic. I'm in denial. I'm 6 weeks early. I've had one child birthing class the night before. One. It was like no. I was not okay. And so I asked them for an epidural. I was like, I want an epidural. And so they go to give me an epidural and they can't get it in. Which, great. So it takes them 2 different anesthesiologists 4 tries to finally kind of give me an epidural. So I could still feel everything, but it like took the edge off. So I could at least manage. Like, it was not great, but I could manage. So my husband goes home, leaves me there because we don't have anything with us. So he goes home to like pack me a bag and to get some things and to call some family and to call his internship or rotation or whatever it was that he was on and let them know, like, he's not coming in today. He's having a baby. So, and I'm just left at the hospital by myself. And yeah, there I was. So we got checked in and everything. It was probably 5 o'clock. Husband went home, came back. He was, 8 o'clock or so, 9 o'clock. 11 o'clock, my epidural is not working. And I am back to being in a lot of pain. And they give you like that button to push that's supposed to like give you some more. And I push it. It does nothing. Nothing. I don't get like any relief at all. And so like I'm like, can they check my epidural? Like I can't. I'm in so much pain again. And so the nurse is like, well, let me see if the doctor wants to check you first, and then we'll go from there. So the doctor comes in and she's like, well, let me just check you, and then we'll call for the anesthesiologist to come look at your epidural. I'm like, okay. So she checks me. Now, this is my first baby, first labor. Yeah, it's 11. We got checked in at 5. So it's 11 and in the morning, and she checks me and she goes, honey, you're having a baby. We don't have time to check an epidural. You are at a 10. You are having a baby right now. And the baby, because Carson is 6 weeks early, they need their respiratory team there. And so all of a sudden it is just a frenzy in my hospital room. My husband's there. He's, holding my hand and up by my head and everything. And the doctor's on the phone and nurses are gowning her up, and she's yelling at people on the phone. Like I remember and hear her say, 15 minutes? No, if you're here in 15 minutes, you are going to be late. This baby is here. So it was just this frenzy of commotion, and I was so scared. I was so scared. I'd never done this before. This baby was 6 weeks early. I had had some trauma with our baby losses in the past. Again, story for another time. And I was just so scared. And then the room everybody kind of rushed in, and it was kind of all this commotion for a few minutes, and then it just kind of went quiet. And the doctor, she's like, she can feel her contractions, so, you know, I want you to push on your next one. And everybody was really quiet. And the next contraction came, and I knew that I'd had a contraction. They all knew I'd had a contraction because the nurses are all looking at the monitor, you know. And the doctor is just sitting there patiently waiting. And I noticed that the nurses are looking towards the doctor, and the doctor's just not. She's letting me have a moment because I needed a moment, you know. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to push. I wasn't ready. And she let me have that moment. And I didn't push. I just breathed through that contraction, and I know I wasn't going to push. And so they waited, and the next contraction came, and I pushed, and he was there. Like, it took me like 2 pushes, and that baby was there. Did not take much at all. He was ready for this world. I don't know. The doctor did tell the respiratory team, if the baby cries, don't you dare take him from me. I am giving her to her. You can check him in a minute. You know, like, if he breathes, we're letting, because it would have been very traumatic because of my past for them to just rip him away and be gone with him, and me not even get to hold him and see him. So fortunately, he did breathe on his own and was crying, and I was able to hold him for a minute, not very long, but for a minute before they had to take him to the NICU. And he was just this amazing little person. And then everybody left. My husband walked our son, Carson, to the NICU, and I was left all alone again, which was a little traumatic, and I've had therapy. Anyways, but he was this amazing little person, and I loved him, of course, immediately. And but that's not to say that everything was easy and perfect from that point on. He was 6 weeks early. He did spend 5 days in the NICU. I didn't get to nurse him right away. And because he was early, like, he didn't want to eat. He just wanted to sleep. And so nursing was very, very hard, very, very challenging. And I tried for quite a few weeks, I think a couple months, I tried to nurse him. And I was getting pressure from family members that he needed breast milk, and I needed to do this for him, but it was exhausting because I was trying to nurse him, then he wouldn't nurse, so then I would feed him a bottle that I had pumped earlier, and then I would lay him down, and then I would pump for him. And it was just this ongoing process. Like, I never stopped feeding him. Like, it was, because as soon as I was done pumping, it was time to try to feed him again. And I was exhausted, and my husband just came home one day from his rotation and just packed up all of the nursing stuff and all of the pumping equipment and just took it away. And he's just, we're done. We're not doing this. It's too hard. We don't have to do this. And so he got formula, and he did so much better, and we were happy, and he grew and thrived and was happier, and we could bond because I could hold him instead of having to pump for this stupid machine. And it was a lot better. But because he was 6 weeks early, everything that he did was late. You know, like, you go to the doctors and they have like these milestones that they want the babies to meet, and he didn't meet them. Like, he wasn't making eye contact when he was supposed to make eye contact. He wasn't smiling when he was supposed to be smiling. He didn't crawl when he was supposed to crawl. He didn't walk when he was supposed to walk. He was late on everything. But because he was early, the doctors would kind of give him, they were like, well, he was 6 weeks early. Let's just give him a little more time. Let's give him a little more time. But when he was just a couple months old, I was sitting in a rocking chair holding him, and I just had this distinct thought, feeling come over me. He's autistic. And I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what autism really was. I didn't know. And I was like, oh, and so I brought it up to my husband because he's in, the pharmacy world, he's in the doctor world, and I was like, hey, I think maybe he's autistic. And my husband was like, oh my gosh, like, you're just being a paranoid first-time mom. Like, he's fine. You just need to give him some time. Like, he's fine, I was like, I don't know. But he brushed me off so much that I just like, okay. And he was kind of angry about it. And so I didn't bring it up again for a long time. Well, right before Carson turned 3, he'd been late on everything. We took him to the University of Utah. We were back living in Utah at this point when he was 3. And he was diagnosed with autism. And he is amazing. He is hard because he doesn't communicate the same way as everybody else. He doesn't fit in with other people. He doesn't have friends like other kids have friends. He goes to his own special class, which is a functional skills class, with other kids like him. And so finally he is having some friends, and he comes home and tells me about his friends, but he just says their names. He doesn't ever really tell me anything they do or anything that they like, or, he doesn't. He just tells me that he's going to go see Sam, and he's going to go see Hayden and Abela and Emma, and he's excited to go see them and to be with them. But he doesn't ever tell me how his day is or anything, and that can be hard. I started sending him to preschool at the age of 3, and so I'd put him on a school bus, and I'd send my 3-year-old, and it was rough. It was hard, and but it was the best thing for him, and he's just a special kid and a special spirit. He makes everybody happy. You cannot be around Carson and not be happy. He is honest. He doesn't even understand the concept of a lie. I have another son who likes to lie all of the time, but then if Carson says it, it's the truth. Like, it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, because he doesn't even understand the concept of a lie. He's obsessive. He gets stuck on things that don't make any sense to anybody else, and it drives everybody crazy because he'll say the same thing 100,000 times in a row until you think your ears are bleeding and about to fall on the floor. I call it my brain leaking out, and I just become this zombie of a monster, and I have to check myself and take a break because I don't have any patience left. But he has definitely taught me patience and taught me unconditional love. He loves everybody. He is so sweet. When we brought in his brothers into our home, because they are adopted, he loved them immediately, shared things with them immediately. Like, we were little we didn't know what it would be like, you know. We were like, we have an autistic 4-year-old, but please give us foster kids. We're insane. And, but he thrived with them and loves them. And I can't imagine him not having his brothers. They're just like this little pack. And I can't imagine him without them and them without him. And he just brings so much light and joy to our lives. He has never been violent. He's never hurt anybody or hit anybody. I know that that can be something that people think about autistic people, but he is the kindest, sweetest person that you'll meet. Yes, he gets frustrated. Yes, he'll throw something across the room because he's frustrated, but it's never directed at anybody. He's never hit anybody, never hurt anybody, never hurt himself. Some do, and that's rough, and I'm just grateful that I don't have that issue to deal with, but he's so sweet. And yeah, but he is behind cognitively. He will never go to college. He'll never, I don't foresee him living on his own or, you know, making a great living for himself. There's going to have to be people helping him and supporting him for all of his life. But he just brings so much joy to us. So that is a little bit about our dear Carson, our curly-haired boy who's almost as tall as me, and he has to stand on his toes all the time. So he's getting up there. So but I hope you guys, you know, have enjoyed this story time video. I used the colors indigo blue, peacock blue, and sky blue light on this blue combination. Yeah, April is Lighted Up Blue. It is Autism Awareness Month. So if there's someone in your life who's autistic and you'd like to share a little bit about them or their story, please leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. If you don't know anything about autism or you've heard some things that you have questions about, please don't feel afraid to ask them. So just go ahead and ask those in the comments as well. Or, you know, go do some research on it, because it's not scary. He's a sweet kid. He's so special to us, but it has been a process for us to get there. We definitely have had our ups and downs and struggles, and people thinking that we're just awful parents and that's why he acts the way he does. We've given books to family members, and they've thankfully read them and learned and understood more to get rid of some of those stereotypes in their thinking so that they could better support us and love us. And now it's taken a while, but we now have a great support system in our family. Yeah, so, which is important because it's hard and I need a break sometimes, and grateful that I have grandparents for my kids who will take them and understand them and love them as much as I do. So yes. Yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, that you find time to relax. Color something blue. Look at that, how pretty that is. And yeah, throw some color around. I will see you guys next time. Bye.